Well, hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Conversations. Today, we're going to be talking about what's killing your culture. 5 words you and every leader, a part of your organization, needs to stop using. This reality is most leaders underestimate the power of words. You underestimate the power in which words translate to culture. You and I know this. The clear delineation between cultures is language. If you go to any other continent, they're going to speak a different language. But in any other context, you would just say that's culture. Language creates culture. It reveals what we value because values always define culture. Each continent or each country shares different values, and that translates to language. Language creates culture. It shapes what we expect, and it either builds or burns the environment we're leading in. So today, I'm just going to call out 5 common words or phrases that are quietly killing culture in your church or organization. And trust me, I've used all these before. This is not something that I'm like legalist about. It's more of the sentiment behind it. And if you want to lead strong, healthy teams and create a culture people actually want to be a part of, these 5 words will challenge you and build you. Number 1, we need you. The word need sounds urgent, it sounds heartfelt, but it communicates lack and desperation. People don't want to fill holes in your church. They want to fulfill a purpose. One of the easiest indicators that you are living in lack or you are living in desperation is you're constantly using the word need. We need more volunteers. We need more executors. We need more worship leaders. We need more kids workers. Using the word need translates to lack and desperation. And this is just some clear signs here that it's infected your culture. Serving feels like a burden, not a calling. Those 2 things always correlate. The person who uses the word need usually is serving out of a burden, not a calling. Serving, by the way, it's a blessing, not a burden. It is something that is obviously we're called to do, but also it's a privilege and honor that God is choosing to use us. And leaders guilt trip people into roles. This happens more than not and more than you think in church context. People always live in this place of guilt tripping somebody into serve. And what that feels like is it feels like a favor. You're doing somebody a favor by serving. You're doing somebody a favor by, we'll talk about this word in a minute, helping out in the context of church. I'm telling you right now, that will never build quality leaders and it will never recruit the best leaders. The best leaders already carry conviction and already carry burden for your organization. They're not trying to help you out. They're not trying to just feel needed. Their already bandwidth is beyond measure. So when you say we need help, what you're saying is we don't have enough. That's a poverty mindset. That's a poverty spirit translating into potentially just a lack of pastoral care of the people you already have. So here's a couple simple solutions. Start casting vision. We would love to invite you into what God is building here. And this isn't from the platform. I'm so against communicating from a platform about specific areas in the church that could use people serving, which is every part, by the way. Every single time somebody says, hey, we need people, I'm like, every single team should have more people on it. There's always room for God to use people in any context. So instead of inviting people to services or inviting them to help you, invite them into your life. You need to be so specific. I literally just had a conversation with a pastor friend of mine and we talked about this, that there's shotguns and snipers. Shotguns is spraying and praying, hoping that somebody could catch it. Like a vision's just in the air and they're going to jump and catch it. We need more kids volunteers and somebody in the room is just going to jump up and grab it, the hungry person. The problem with that, the best leaders are not in a space where that translates. You need to be a sniper. You need to have the eyes to see somebody and call them out and call them higher, call them up. So leaders, train leaders to use language of invitation, not obligation. We don't use obligation as a weapon to get people to serve. That is unhealthy and that's manipulation. So number 1, we need you. Number 2, I hinted at it before, can you help me? The word help, it sounds polite, but it shrinks someone's contribution to a side task. People don't want to help. They want to own something that actually matters. You don't want helpers walking around. Somebody helping your vision, helping build your team, helping. See how it always goes back to you. When you have helpers around, all they're doing is they're serving your vision. They're serving your motives rather than having leaders. You don't want helpers, you want leaders. Because when leaders lead, people willingly offer themselves. What does that translate to? It translates to a healthy environment where people are being grown and developed. The two signs that this isn't in fact your culture, nobody takes initiative. You have to beg somebody to take initiative. And by the way, you can always tell whether somebody's a helper because they're not motivated. They're not self-motivated to make a difference and solve problems. That tells me that they're a helper, not a leader. They're waiting to be told what to do. They're constantly around to just serve your vision or do you a favor. And that does not translate well to the local church. Because really, when you have quality leaders, what that's going to feel like is they feel like they're babysitting. You should not have to babysit grown adults. You shouldn't have to babysit leaders. You don't want helpers around. I promise you, you want leaders. Simple solutions here. Use ownership language. Can you lead this area? Would you be open to running point on this? Can you come back to me with ideas on this? Don't say, can you help? Say, can you lead this with me? Can you lead this? Can you own this? And again, it's one simple word, but to me, it translates to a healthy environment. Obviously, this one's a simple solution. Just create real roles with real responsibilities and hand them over. A lot of times when you have an insecure leader who is hoarding the quality parts of being a leader in the church and asking other people to help him or help her do the things they don't want to do, that is not leadership development. That's not empowerment. That's not delegation. That is the definition of using people to build the church rather than using the church to build people. So have real roles and have real responsibilities. Any leader in our context would have a position description and it would have 6 key result areas. These are the 6 things that they're specifically responsible for that is a part of their team. It's usually ownership, communication, scheduling, pastoral care. So just make it simple. You don't want helpers, you want leaders. Number 3, you're just a volunteer. You might not say it out loud, but the way you lead communicates this. Volunteers are not support staff. They're frontline leaders. You don't want it. We don't even say the word volunteer in our context. We say servant leader because you serve and you lead. You're a servant leader. You're not here to support the staff who are building the church. You are a frontline leader because the people who are actually going to the workplace and influencing people and bringing people to church and giving and pushing forward the church and the kingdom, I'm telling you, that's the people who should feel the most honored and privileged to understand that they're making a difference. And us always translating to, hey, one day we are going to change the world together. It's all about unity. You should not feel obligated to make people feel like they have to serve. Obviously, that's the first 2 things we just talked about. But also, don't look down on volunteers. Don't look down on the people who are actually stacking chairs and showing up and doing the actual ministry. That's what being a pastor is equipping the saints for ministry, for actually going into their space and place and influence it in a positive nature. Here's a couple signs that this has infected your culture. Volunteers don't feel empowered to speak up or make decisions. They feel like they're walking on eggshells because real leadership is reserved for staff. You don't have to have a staff-led culture. I understand that a lot of the churches that you see online, you assume that they're staff-led. The healthiest churches I've ever been around in my life, whether that's literally serving in or having conversations with the lead pastor or executive pastors of those churches across the globe, every single one of them has a healthy, vibrant volunteer culture. They have a servant leader culture that it's actually fun to serve. They're actually making a difference. They're not just helping out the pastor do things. They're actually living on mission and on purpose for a purpose. If you have that, and you'll never say that from a platform, but real leadership is reserved for staff. I'm telling you what, that's you. I would assume, this is just my assumption, you're hiring people out of your own friendships or relationships outside of your church. Internal hires will always be the best hires because they already get your culture. They already carry it and live and thrive in it, rather than just third-party source hires who don't translate to anything regarding your culture. So here's some simple shifts to solve it. Elevate the title. You're a leader on this team. Continue to make sure they understand and give them freedom within a framework. So 3 to 5 hours throughout the week, this is what you're owning. You're building this. Think of yourself as an owner. I'm pretty against using the language staff as a volunteer because there really is a difference. One of them you're getting paid, one of them you're not. And you really should, I'm recommending to just bring volunteers into key conversations and decisions when appropriate. Just continue to make sure that there's transparency, that the quickest way to churn with volunteers is to lack communication and planning with them. Just get things ahead, make decisions, follow through, be a person of integrity, and be a person who values the people who are continually building the vision that you feel like God gave you. And again, you want to have the best leaders in the world, look for people who have vision, not just the people who want to build your vision. Number 4, you've heard this one before. We've always done it this way. This phrase kills innovation, creativity, and progress. So you want to have innovation, creativity, and progress? Do not say, we've always done it this way. This is just the way we've done it. This is the method. This is the preference that we do here. Here's the problem with that. That does not translate to growth, doesn't translate to innovation, creativity, or progress. What that actually means, by the way, the root of that is fear. The root of we've always done it this way. We've always had this class. We've always done small groups this way. We've always done our service flow this way. We've always had a vibe song. When you say that, you have fear. You have fear of loss, you have fear of change, or you have fear of conflict. And usually that is the lens in which that when somebody says that, that's what they mean. They have fear. They have fear attached to their decision-making, fear of change, conflict, or loss. Here's some signs this in fact to your culture. New ideas die. Potentially people don't even want to say an idea because they feel like you are going to say, we don't do that. This is what we do. And if the horse is dead, dismount. Get off the dead horse. If the ministry hasn't worked in 6 years and you're waiting for something to change, usually what that means is you just need to change the method, the system, or the preference of the leader. Don't change the message. The message of Jesus is the same, but it translates through methods and preferences. But more than any method or personal preference, just be around the message of Jesus. So again, younger leaders stop suggesting things or leave. If you turn around in your church and look at the vibrancy of the leaders in the room, if there's no young, vibrant, innovative leaders in your church, no vibrant creatives in your church, no people who are change agents, it's usually an indicator that you have been married to preferences and styles more than actually living in a place of conviction around the things that actually matter. So here's a simple solution. Ask out loud in any decision you're going to do. Does this still serve the mission right now? Because a lot of times we have aspirational decisions where you make a decision hoping and aspiring that one day it'll work or one day it'll be revitalized. The problem is you're burning through people in the midst of doing that. You have to live in a place that you're still serving the mission right now. The mission is the president of your organization. Live like that person. The preferences, all that stuff's got to die, and you got to be married to the mission, and you got to be married to the message of Jesus. And just try seasonal experiments. Test change for a limited time and learn. When somebody comes up to you with ideas, the worst thing you could do is shoot them down. Because again, they've thought about it, they've processed it, they've prayed through it, they're offering a solution to something that you potentially don't see. So your blind spot, potentially somebody is just wanting to solve it and help the vision. Last but not least, I'll just do it. This one feels noble. This one makes you feel like you are on mission for a mission, but it's actually control dressed up in humility. I'll do it. I'll just do it. It's quicker if I do it. It's easier if I just do it. I've just always done it. What you're saying is, I don't trust anyone else to carry this. You don't trust people. And this is two signs that this is in your culture. Burnout is high. People use that word all the time. I'm burnt out. I'm tired. I just can't do it anymore. No one steps up because they know you'll just take over. You have a high churn rate on your team. You have a high leadership churn rate. It's usually because you're just doing it all. And they're helpers to helping you do things, but it also just translates to you going, I'll just do it. It's more simple and easy if I do it. That's not empowering. That's not building leaders. That's building helpers. So again, I'll just do it. Feels like, man, I'm helping them get more time into their week, but it's actually just control. Here's 2 simple strategies or solutions to this one. Quicker episodes. We're trying to get through these. Ask yourself, who can I develop to take this on? Give people space to try, fail, learn, and grow without rescuing them too quickly. I always like to say, if they can do it at 60% of the skill or capacity you should be doing it, you should be delegating it to them. Why? There's no room to grow or to develop. Yeah, they're probably not going to do as great as you did, but that's the reason why you're their leader, is to help them grow into that specific skill or style. I'll just do it. It's not healthy. It's honestly the opposite of humility. So closing here, just wanted to wrap this up. You want to change church culture in your context, start by changing your vocabulary. Vocabulary is everything. You should have say this, don't say this document that has the 10 to 20 most primary phrases in your church. We don't say volunteer, we say servant leader. We don't say when I should show up, we say call time. All of this stuff translates to culture. And by the way, once you have majority of people who are behind your culture, people who start to use the different language, everybody starts to see that person's not a part of our culture. That person contradicts our culture. Healthy cultures spit toxic people out. So the wrong words plant seeds of burnout, guilt, control, and confusion, but the right words create environments where people can thrive. Telling you this right now, your team is listening. This generation is watching. Speak with clarity, strength, and intention. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Thank you for listening to Conversations. Man, it's been so much fun growing with each and every one of you. Just ask, hey, maybe you should share this with your team. Maybe go into your next huddle and ask, what language do we need to retire? Let's kill the culture killers and build something that lasts. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.